So, what do you do when you lose a beloved pet dog? Most people would probably get another one, right? Well, not this guy. Today, we're diving into the incredible true story of Gavin Maxwell and the wild otter that completely changed his life.
An otter as a pet? I mean, have you ever seriously thought about it? It's a pretty unusual choice. But for one man, it wasn't just some crazy idea. It was the start of an amazing adventure and a friendship you wouldn't believe. Let's get into how it all happened.
All right, so every story has a starting point, and this one actually begins with a bit of sadness. The author, Gavin Maxwell, was grieving the loss of his dog, and the very thought of getting another one, well, it was just too painful. So he decided his next companion was going to be something completely different. And his unconventional idea actually made a ton of sense when you think about it. Maxwell lived in this remote spot in Scotland, and his house was literally surrounded by water. He realized it was the perfect environment, a natural paradise for a creature like an otter.
But okay, where do you even get an otter? It's not like you can pop down to the local pet store. Well, as fate would have it, a friend he was traveling with in Iraq had the answer. He casually mentioned that the Tigris marshes were famous for them, and boom, just like that, an idea was born.
And pretty soon, that idea became a reality. But the delivery, well, it wasn't exactly what you'd call conventional. The otter didn't show up in some cute little pet carrier. Nope, it arrived at a sack delivered by two men at the Basra airport. Can you just imagine that moment? Opening a sack to meet the creature that's about to turn your world upside down.
The creature that came out of that sack was, well, it was almost alien. It looked nothing like a familiar dog or cat. Maxwell described it as sleek and wet, with this long, powerful tail that moved like a ribbon. This wasn't just a new pet. It felt like a visitor from another world entirely.
So how does a strange creature from a sack in Iraq become a beloved friend? This is where the story really takes off, because this shy, mysterious otter starts to show a personality that nobody could have predicted.
And the change was incredibly fast. I mean, astonishingly fast. On the very first day, the otter, who Maxwell named Mijbil, was distant, very shy. But by day 2, his curiosity started winning. And just a few days after that, they were practically inseparable.
And here's a really cool little detail for you. This particular type of otter from the marshes of Iraq, well, it was basically unknown to zoologists at the time. So later, it was officially named Lutrogale perspiculata maxwelli, or Maxwell's otter. How amazing is that? The author is forever linked to this unique species.
It was in the bathroom, of all places, that Mijbil's true personality just exploded onto the scene. The moment Maxwell introduced him to a bathtub full of water, he went absolutely wild with joy. This was his element.
And we're not talking about just mindless splashing here. Mijbil was incredibly smart. He literally invented his own complex games, turning bath time into this whole elaborate, joyful ritual. It was so clear he wasn't just an animal. He was a thinking, feeling being with a mind all his own.
So, the time finally came for Maxwell to head back to London. And this was the story's biggest hurdle. How in the world do you get an otter on an international flight?
The main problem wasn't just booking a ticket. It was trying to navigate this whole world of rules and regulations that had definitely never, ever planned for a passenger quite like Mijbil.
And here was the biggest roadblock. The airline had a very strict rule. All animals had to be transported in a box. Now, for a creature that lives for freedom and water, a box is basically a torture chamber. Maxwell built a box, but the second he left Midge alone in it, the otter's terror just took over. He completely tore the inside to shreds, injuring himself in the process. It was a really brutal reminder of Midge's wild spirit and his absolute fear of being confined.
And just when you think things couldn't get worse, they did. At the airport, in the middle of a crowded terminal, the lid on the replacement box burst open, and Mijbil made a run for it. He just shot across the floor, causing total chaos, while Maxwell desperately tried to catch him. What a scene.
But after all that insanity, the flight itself was shockingly peaceful. It was all thanks to this wonderfully kind air hostess who saw the situation, bent the rules, and let Mijbil travel on Maxwell's lap. And Mijbil, as if he totally understood, was the perfect passenger the entire way.
So, once they arrived in London, Mijbil went from being a source of chaos to a kind of local celebrity.
He was this creature that was completely out of place in a bustling city, and Londoners just had no idea what to make of him.
The guesses people came up with were absolutely hilarious. They thought he was everything from a seal to a baby walrus. Some even guessed a squirrel or a tiny hippo. It just goes to show how truly one of a kind he was. Mijbil quickly adapted his playful genius to his new city home. He loved playing with marbles, and, in a seriously smart move, he even figured out how to turn on the bathroom faucet all by himself to create his own private little water park.
So, beyond all the crazy adventures and funny stories, there's something really profound here. This is about more than just a man and his unusual pet. It's a powerful look at the nature of connection itself.
The real heart of their relationship was that it was a two-way street. This wasn't a one-sided thing. Maxwell offered patience, and Mijbil learned to trust. Maxwell showed affection, and Mijbil gave back loyalty. It was a true friendship, built on this amazing mutual respect and understanding.
Ultimately, what this story really shows us is that love can cross any barrier, even the one between species. It's just a powerful reminder that all living things can form these deep, meaningful connections if we just give them a chance.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Gavin Maxwell's journey with Mijbil wasn't just about owning an exotic pet. It was a lesson in patience, empathy, and the kind of love it takes to truly see the world from another being's perspective. So, what does it really take to understand a creature so different from ourselves?